Glad you guys tuned in yet again for another Thursday. Can you believe it? Life goes by quickly. This is our third Thursday that sounds like a drinking day, but our third Thursday that we have been together to do one of these Moxi classes. So every Thursday in the month of August, we're going to do one. Next week will be another good one, kind of a recap of the month. So I'd encourage you to tune into that. And then in September, we're also slated to do these classes every Thursday too. So really happy to be here with you guys. And the purpose of these is that it's a 30-minute class. And then by the end of the 30 minutes, you have a little bit of time to do some hands-on training. And if you do the work, then today, for instance, you'll be entered in to win a prize. Now, those of you watching the recording have missed out because it does give you some value showing up live in the moment. So you guys will be the ones that can do the contest. But anyway, I'm going to share my screen and show you guys what we're talking about today. I want to give you a really super easy, simple, life-changing way, one could say, to keep in touch with your contacts. That's the concept of today's class. And it's, to me, I've been in the business 10 years, many of you a lot longer than me, but I did a lot to reach my clients when I was out there actively selling. I was always trying to find ways to reach my people. And this neighborhood news feature or drip email campaign that I'm going to show you today is really the best one that I would have ever used in my career so far. So I'd encourage you to check it out and use it. And one of the activities today is to actually set yourself up for it and to see what your clients are getting in these emails. So I'm going to leave that up to you to follow through with this, but it's really easy to get to. You get to Moxi, obviously, by going to kchagent.com, where you log in with your Kansas City Homes email and password. Gene, you think I can say that every week for the next 50 years of my life, you think? I think that's probably how to do it. But once you get there, it'll take you to the greenhouse. Now, if you, that's a plus sign there that it gave me an interrupted connection. So hopefully I'm still on the internet here. You guys, Gene, you can hear me okay? But weird. All right, well, let me click back onto Okta here, going to Moxi. These things always happen when I teach, but that's what I wanted it to look like. Let me recap here. I went to KCH Agent and then I clicked on the Moxi icon. Once I got there, it's given me this sign on because it's the first time that I've logged in to Greenhouse, maybe on this internet connection or this browser or this computer, whatever your case may be. That's why it's going to ask you for your login. The thing is, you're thinking to yourself, isn't Okta supposed to save all my freaking passwords, Patrick? That's probably the tone you're going to use when you ask me that too. Yeah, that is the concept, but BHG has rolled out this two-factor authentication to make sure that you really are who you are. It's just for your safety and security, I guess, whatever. But if you log in for the first time on a browser or computer or internet connection, like for me, maybe I'm logging in for the first time here at home on my home internet since they rolled this out. So I would click Moxi, then it's going to log in. And then the first time I do this, I'm going to have to remember that greenhouse password that's going to be maybe harder to remember than others, but you can always click that forgot password link. It's kind of tricky because the first time you do it, you'll set up your cell phone, you'll sign up for two-factor authentication. But for me, I would just sit here and I'd be waiting for this code. But you actually have to click this green button that says send code before it actually sends you a code. So Gene's over there nodding, shaking his head. I've shaken a few things other than just my head at this, but let's see what number I end up getting. It says there's an internal error, Gene. Oh, good Lord. All right, let's click on Moxi again. Life's good. Here we go. Clicking on Moxi. It's going to make me sign in again. And it's good practice, because many of you have not done it. I can see how many of you have and haven't. So you can go into real estate, bhgrealestate.com. Let's just do it silently. So I make sure I remember my password with 5 of the same icons at the end because you have to change it every once in a while. But we'll get there. And gosh, unexpected error. What do you think that means, Gene? Let me stop sharing my screen and go out of things here and start over. You guys still love me, right? It's like every time I teach one of these things, somebody's got a curse on me and I'm going to break it today. We're breaking these chains here. Let me start over. Hang on, people. I'm really good at talking to myself, by the way, so I do it all day. It keeps telling me that the connection was lost when I go to KCH Agent, but bear with me just a minute and I'll get things back up and going. But let me tell you, this neighborhood news feature is really incredible. A great way. It basically sends your clients a monthly email report that talks to them about what's going on in the neighborhood around them. The easiest way to do it is with a zip code. And with the zip code, it just sends them a report really based on the zip code. And I know that that's not really specific to your people, but you can also narrow it down. That's one of the things I'm going to show you if we don't run out of time today. That'd be probably a good idea to show you. Gene, I don't know, maybe there in Blue Valley, you guys can log into the greenhouse and see. I keep getting the message that says there's an unexpected internal error. So I don't know, maybe you can pull it up on your screen and share the screen and I could walk us through it like we're on the TV. But I think Gene's going to work on that. I wanted to share a testimonial with Tina, one of our agents in the company, who has used this, and she's put in a couple hundred of her contacts, and she's not here with us today. She had to run out and do some business today, but the point is she sent us some snippet of the results that she's beginning off of this neighborhood news email blast, and she signed up a couple hundred people for it, and she's been getting about a 70% open rate. Now, I don't know about you, but I know the industry average for email marketing for real estate, and it's about 26%. And so Tina's getting a 70% some open rate for these emails that's going out. And she's only had one unsubscribe out of the 200 people that she sent it out to. So that's a great touch point with your people. Those of you going through foundations with me this week know that we talk all day, every day about staying top of mind. And sometimes we forget that that's our goal in real estate, that our goal is to stay top of mind with people in the business. And this is a great way to go out and do it. I know Gene's working. Does he need to say anything to me? Anybody?
I'm working on it now.
Great. Let's keep talking about life. I know, Carol asked something in the chat. Let's see what that's about. But gosh, you guys are doing well. It'd be better if I was there in person, wouldn't it? But
Patrick, do you want me to share my screen and then you can just
yeah,
walk
if
me
you've
through
got
where
it
you want
up,
to
I
go?
can have you walk through the.
I got it in.
Sounds like Gene's got it up. And Scott, thank you for doing it. You beat him to the race, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you guys for helping us with the crisis. Somebody in Leewood said they were having trouble logging into it too. If you were getting the same internal error message that I was, great. We'll look into that. If you're getting some sort of other message, that's another problem for a different topic. So if you would let us know via the help desk if you have any problems that are not what we went through. But yeah, we didn't get to show you the login part, but the point of me showing you all of that was that the first time you log in, you got to set up that two-factor authentication. And I know that about 40% of you tuned in today have not logged into the greenhouse since they rolled that out. So that is an important step to complete. I know that there's also about 30 of us as a company that have not completed that website admin part. That's really important that we get that done. And I don't know how many times we could possibly ask one person to do that. But if you're still on that list, if you're not getting that done yet, I'm going to be the mean teacher and tell you you're really at jeopardy for having a website with the company when we roll them out in the next couple of weeks. So it's really important that you take care of that. And Judy, I'm sorry, the screen is maybe a little fuzzy. It might be just the distance that you're watching it from, but if you can kind of see just the general areas that we're clicking on, we probably ought to be okay. So thanks for bearing with us today. It's the best that we've got, it's not perfect technology, I guess, Scott, but here we go. Hey, to get to this neighborhood news email, you're going to hover up over that top menu bar and click on to Engage, because Engage is our CRM. And maybe we can control plus a little bit and see if it makes it any bigger once we get into it. Maybe that'd be helpful. But when you click on to Engage, you can kind of remember that Engage is a CRM because you're engaging with your clients. That kind of makes sense, right? Scott's going to go up on the top left and choose agent mode. And you as an agent won't have to do that, just as Scott, because he's got admin access, that's what he's going to see. But there you go. I think that's perfect. Thanks, Scott. When you go up to sign somebody up for neighborhood news, there's a couple ways to do it. And I'm going to show you one if you just wanted to sign one person up. Scott, maybe you could find somebody that has an address in your contact list. You think you have anybody that has an address? Because what we're doing is when we put somebody into Moxi, into Google Contacts, it goes into your CRM. And the cool thing is that if you put their home address in, it's going to pull their zip code automatically for you and create a neighborhood news email just with a couple of clicks. You don't even have to really think about it. You're creating this email, no problem. And so Scott's going to find me a contact, and if it doesn't have an address, we can survive without it. But here's Capri Collins. That's a kind of a fun name. Sounds very coastal, Capri. All right, Capri's got an address in there, so great. At some point, Scott and Capri, maybe they've worked together. They're past clients, I don't know. But the cool thing is you want to engage with Capri once a month, without even thinking about it. It's automated. So Scott's going to scroll down a little bit on this page on Capri's contact, and then see that section that says subscriptions. He's going to click on add subscription, and it's always there on every single contact. And you have two options, and one of them that we haven't really taught on yet is that one on the right side. It's called listing announcements. That's kind of cool. It allows you to send listing announcements when you have a sale close. Do you think that'd be good to show your proof of success, especially as a newer agent? So you can send out some automated emails whenever you have a sale, a transaction close. That's cool. Today, we're looking at the neighborhood news. So he's going to click over on the left side where it says add subscription. And when he does, I bet it's going to give him two options. There they are. The quick option is really just pulling a monthly report based on the zip code that we input in for this client. And because Capri's address is already in there, it's going to pull the zip code, and really you can just sign her up in a matter of seconds. The custom search, let's go ahead and click on custom search just to show some of the criteria that you've got in there. And you can choose whatever you think is better. If it were me and I was trying to get a big list of these done at the same time, then I would maybe just do a zip code search, because in our area, zip codes are not very broad areas, so it'd be a pretty good way to search. However, if you knew that Capri's home was maybe a $500,000 house, but all of the properties around that zip code were closer to 200 or 300, then it's not going to give her very good comps every month when we send that report. So you could go up on the top there and change the search criteria, like with where the zip code is. You could also change where Scott's hovering over where the price, so you could narrow down the price a little bit. Same thing with bedroom and bath. In Moxi, there is no half bath, and so you'd want to be mindful of that when you're searching and narrowing down your criteria. There's also a list of other filters there that you could choose from, single family, stuff like that, square footage. On this particular neighborhood news feature, there is a limited number of search criteria, but it allows you to narrow it down. I'd say price would be the most helpful. Cancel out of that, Scott. And what I'm going to do now is show you, let's go back into the custom search just there one more time. I'm sorry. And then see over on the right side in the map where it says draw. Hover over draw and maybe click on it. And one of the options is multi-draw. When you multi-draw, you can start drawing on the map, and that can narrow down. So maybe you wanted it to be just a subdivision. That would be one way to just kind of, you can just draw a little polygon, an octagon. How many more can we go? A hexagon, that would be 6. So however many gons you want, you could put that onto the map there. And so I guess a square it is. And so you've got, that little area. There you go. All right, there we go. So anyway, you could draw on the map and make it whatever you want to, but that might be a way around looking up subdivisions. You'll notice also that there is a school search in there, and we are working through some of the glitches on school search, but I think the most useful boundary in school would be for the particular school, not the district. The district is in there, but the particular school boundary is really helpful to pull in there too, because we know that some people are looking in particular elementary boundaries, and usually that's a good way to pull comps based on the school boundary. So it shows you when he clicks schools, public schools, it puts them on the map in those little kind of coral or green colored dots. He can choose one if he wanted to, and click one, and it'll show the school boundary. You could also click there and see the district boundary. Go ahead and click district boundaries. That'd be helpful. And now the search is kind of confusing because it also has the however many gons that shape is in there too, but it also pulled the school district. So long story short, that's the way to create a search there that's a little deeper than a zip code. I'd encourage you to play around with that on your own if you send one to yourself. And Carol, subdivision is not an option when you search for it for all of our subdivisions quite yet. We're working through some of that with Moxi, and that's why we're in the process of rolling it out in stages here for you. So on this neighborhood news feature, I would not say that subdivision is a reliable way to search, and that's why I showed you how to draw on the map, because that's a good way to do it. But we can talk more about that towards the end. But thanks, Scott. That was cool. Let's cancel out of that screen and go back to the quick one, because maybe you choose to do quick. Go ahead and click go on the quick option, and you'll see that it really puts the person's zip code in there instantly for you. Now, Scott has not added an email address for Capri, but if he had that email in her contact already, then it would have shown up here in the email address field. And then literally all he would have had to done is click the done button down there, and it sends a neighborhood news instantly to everybody. So that's how you sign one individual person up for it. And I hope I'm going at a good pace. If you have any questions, jot them down now. We'll go over them towards the end here. But I want to show you, before we run out of our 30-minute time, how to sign a group of people up for neighborhood news at one time, because it's also really easy to do. Let's click close out of that. Let's go up and hover over people on the top menu bar. That's where, as an agent, you're going to see all your list of contacts. You'll click onto My People to see anybody that you've added into Google Contacts. And absolutely, Michelle and everybody in College Boulevard, you can edit the welcome message there. Scott, I should have showed that. You could have, deleted things out. I told the group yesterday in Foundations, to word it like, hey, I'd love to sign you up for this neighborhood news email that comes out. And yeah, sure, he can show us here real quickly. And what I would have put in here is even, somebody in class asked me yesterday, would I sign somebody up for this even if I didn't tell them I was going to? Well, yeah, thicken your skin and send them something. It's a great piece of marketing. And so what I'd say to them in there is, hey, wanted to send you this monthly report on your home. What do you think of it? You can easily customize the message. It doesn't have to be that long-winded thing that, it's originally written as. And maybe that's not your voice, so you change it a little bit. Thanks, Scott, for showing that. Let's close out of that. Go back up to people and My People. And for My People, that's where you're going to see every single contact that's in your Google Contact. And that's why we've been working so hard over the last few months to help you organize those. Scott, I bet you've got a group in there somewhere, right? And so you can go over into filters on the right side and then choose, I don't know, let's just choose real estate. Hopefully when you guys are doing it, I mean, you certainly could send it out to the 516 people that he's got, no problem with that. The only thing is that your groups, you want to have their contact info in there to be able to send this to them. And so I know some of these people in here, this is just kind of like a test account where we don't have everybody's contact info. But let's say this is the group that you wanted to send out neighborhood news to. Maybe you have your COI list that all has their email address and home address in there. Maybe you have a farming neighborhood you want to send this out to if you've got their contact info. I mean, think of all the possibilities of the groups of people you can send it to. So see that little select all button kind of on the top left area there? That is where you can select all the people in that group that we just chose. We started by going up into filters in the top right. We chose the group that we wanted, and we chose the real estate group. We clicked apply, and then from apply, we've got all the 516 people in that group, or also known as a label in Google. All of them are there, and Scott clicked the select all button up at the top left, and now it says deselected. Now it says select, and now we've got all 516 people selected. Now that's pretty elementary, right? Well, that's how easy this is. So just right up above that select button is that add to button. So click onto that, and one of the options is neighborhood news. And when you hover over it, it gives you the two same options we were just looking at. Let's go ahead and do a quick, a quick neighborhood news search. When you do, you'll see that many of the Scott's contacts don't have zip codes. They do have email addresses, but if yours had their home addresses in there automatically, it would put the zip code in. Literally, you could go down to that green subscribe and continue button, and you've literally just sent out neighborhood news to 516 people, and then it gets sent to them once a month automatically on the same day that you signed them up for it every month. And they get that report. On the back end, Scott doesn't have any neighborhood news that's been sent out, so we can't look at his stats. But as you start sending these out, you're going to see some analytics of these emails, just like Tina did when she sent out the couple hundred and they're having a 70% open rate. That's huge. And you want to know that to know how successful your marketing's going. So let's close out of that and go up to campaigns up on the top navigation there. When you go to campaigns, one of those a little bit lower is neighborhood news, and that is where you would click to see, yeah, right there, that's where you'd click to see the campaigns. And Scott signed 2 people up for this as a test run. Nobody's opened it yet, but anyway, hopefully your open rate's better than 0%, but kind of cool. Gene, we'll cover your point there in just a second. One thing I wanted to mention is that every week as an agent, usually on the weekend, I think it's usually like Saturday or Sunday that I see it, you'll get an email from Moxi that gives you a report on the neighborhood news that had been sent out the week before. So, everybody on your list might be getting this at different times based on when you sign them up for it, because it's based on when you did sign them up. And so the cool thing is that you'll be able to see in your email just every weekend, oh yeah, 10 people opened my email, 2 of them clicked on the link. And that's worth mentioning too. Inside this email, it's not just cool content, that's a big part of it, but also there is a link that people can click on to get a more detailed report. And so I'm not even going to show you one today because I want you to go make one for yourself and see what it looks like. And so send one to yourself. That's part of your task and homework for today. But if you wanted to log into Moxi and see your neighborhood news stats, that's where you could do it. I want to go up and cover a couple of these things up in the chat. So I know, Gene, you covered a couple of things. Your clients can't change the content of their criteria. What you can do is, like, if we went back to Capri's account, we didn't sign them up for it, so we wouldn't be able to see it. But if you went back into where we added the subscription, you can then edit the message or edit the criteria. That's pretty easy to do, and once you sign up, it'll be easy for you to do. I can show you that too. Another thing you can do is resend it to Capri or whoever. Maybe they said, oh, I missed that. I didn't see it. It's buried in my email. Would you mind resending it? That's easy to do too. So is this somebody that might be signed up for neighborhood news? That'd be great to look at. If so, if you've got anybody, we can scroll down. Yeah, see, so now it shows up as a subscription down there as neighborhood news on that person's profile. Go ahead and click on that, and it lets you edit the criteria. So what you would do is then click on to details. See that little hidden tab there? It says details. What we're looking at right now shows you who's opened it, when they opened it. If they clicked on the link, it shows you all the activity, when it was last sent to them. That's kind of cool. But when we click on details, we could go over there on the more, see where it says active subscriptions, and then there's that little more that you can hover over. When you hover over more and then you click on it, you break it down and it says edit. And that would be where you edit the criteria for what's going out every month in the email. And if somebody said, you know what, I don't want this anymore, or they moved out of the area, it wouldn't make sense to drive them crazy to the point where they unsubscribe, you could go down and click remove, and that removes the person too. Go ahead and click preview, Scott, because that would be kind of cool to see a preview of what's getting sent out. It'll load up here in a second, but it just basically is a report that puts actually some cool graphics to the sales. It shows you actual properties that have sold. It shows you some trends like the median sell price. You can actually do a drop down in that and choose different criteria there. So there's median sold prices. You could drop it down and do other criteria too, like maybe not in the preview, but in real life you sure can. But if you scroll down, you can see the number of new listings, what the price was versus the sold. That's just kind of a cool thing. But the neat thing is when they click on that link, we see that click. And you think that somebody all of a sudden, Scott's little silhouette there looks good, doesn't it? But your picture will show up there and it'll be marketed towards you when you send it out. But when somebody clicks on that link, and maybe you haven't heard from them in a while, do you think that'd be a good reminder to touch base with those people and say, hey, wanted to check in, see how things are going, because they're obviously interested in their neighborhood, what's going on. I don't know, many of you were with us when we had the system called My Home Watch or My Home Compare. That was kind of like our in-house technology. Circa 5+ years ago or less than that, but it was when it was really common and popular that we were teaching you to use that. This is an awesome replacement for My Home Compare because it sends them a monthly report on the houses around them. It can map them out for them, and it's all branded to you, better than anything we've ever offered you as an agent. This stuff is branded to you and looks great, so it's really good. So appreciate the question about changing the criteria there in Leawood. College Boulevard, we talked about editing the welcome messaging, and thanks, Gene, for answering that too. Somebody asked me, you could also set this up for someone that's interested in a zip code or school district. Yeah, I mean, just to keep an eye on things, you bet. And we'll talk more about, search criteria, setting your clients up for searches in the month of September. We'll teach you on that quite a bit. Tyler asked me in the chat, what if somebody unsubscribes? Is there anything they have to do, or are they automatically removed? So if they unsubscribe, they're gone, and they're also gone from any other Moxi campaign emails that you send out. So you do want to be wise when you choose how much to send out to them, because you wouldn't want somebody to, unsubscribe from everything you send. Mary, you asked about the date, the data range of what's being used for the monthly data. And hopefully you saw some of in the examples that kind of gave you a range, less 6 months or whatever it said in there, it tells you what it is. So that's helpful too. Leslie, when you click people, no one's there except the people that you just added. That sounds like something that we can work with you individually on for sure. Thanks for letting us know. And then Sergio, you asked, will all of the selected contacts receive the exact same report, or will they get a custom report based on their zip code? Let's go back into the My People list and choose that group again, Scott, and I'll show you where you can choose between those two options. You can choose whether to send them the same report based on the same zip code or criteria, or you could have them all get one based on their zip code, as long as you have their address in there. So let's choose that group again up in filters. In the top right, we chose real estate, we clicked apply, and then from there, we selected all. And then up in the top, we clicked add to, and then neighborhood news. And then let's just do a quick search again. When you do a quick search, really pretty similar, but see where it says enter the same zip code for everyone? That is an option. And so maybe you just wanted to quickly add, you knew they all lived in the same area, you could do it that way. Or if everybody had their own zip code in there, then it pulls in and then you just hit subscribe and continue. So hopefully that helped for you. I love it, you guys. I think this is a great email marketing campaign. Terry is in Leawood today, and she and I were talking about how can we make this exciting? How can we get you to try this? Excite you just being here at class today, watching it, the 40 of you that are here with us. It's great marketing, and I encourage you to try to send one to yourself before you do anything else. So your homework for the next 30 minutes during this 30-minute hands-on session is to send one of these to yourself. Try it out. Put yourself in as a contact in Google or Moxi with a personal email account. You could also send it to your Kansas City Homes email. Some of our brokers have been sending them out to all of our agents too, so you might be already seeing these reports. But if you sign yourself up for it, give it a try and let us know what you think. Here's our little contest. How about it? Terry, let me know what you think. But we're gonna, if you sign up neighborhood news for Terry McGowan, if you do Terry's email, which is terrym@kansascityhomes.com, right? You can find her email address. And if you sign her up for a neighborhood news by noon today, that's only, a couple and a half hours away. If you sign her up for a neighborhood news today to her email, you're going to think it drives her crazy. She's going to love it. She's going to be so happy and excited. She knows it. She knows it's happening. I'm not coming up with this in the moment, I promise. But if you send her that email, there could be 40 of you on the call today. She could get 40 of these emails. That's awesome marketing. It's proving that you're using the system, and we love that because we know the agents that use the system are proven to make more money than the agents that don't. So if you go in and do that, you know what? You're going to be entered in for a whole branding packaging for your listings. We will create one of those nice pocket folders with your listing presentation. We will help you come up with a bio page if you haven't done that already. And there's going to be 3 winners. So if you are the one that does that, doesn't matter what zip code, doesn't matter what criteria, I just want you to send that to Terry, show that you know how to do it, and you'll be entered in, but you got to do it by noon. If it's 12:01, Terry's going to hit that delete trash button. She's going to be done with that. So make sure you send it to her by noon, and that'll be the contest, and we'll get you set up on a few of those listing presentation packets to get you set up for success for your listings in the future. Talk to me, people. What questions do you have? I hear somebody talking there. And any questions that we can answer as a group here before we let you work on your own? Somebody's starting a Toyota out there, it sounds like. Go ahead. I can barely hear you though.
Can you hear me? It's Missy.
What's up? I think I can do it. Talk to me.
We have a question here. When will my house repair be removed, and these people from My Home Repair or My Home Compare are on the new website, correct? Sorry.
Jean, you might want to touch on that.
Can we repeat the question?
Yeah, she was asking the people in My Home Compare, is that still a thing? Is that still a system somewhere that people are using?
It is still up. Oh, no, the oldest My Home Compare, no. The REW stuff is still running and will until we switch over to the new websites. And I'm assuming if we stay on task, we will be doing that in the first 2 weeks of September.
You heard it here first. Now, if you have made the deadline that we talked about earlier in the year, your second part of your question was getting your contacts into Google Contacts from REW. So if you made that deadline and that sounds familiar to you, then yes, your people are in there. It would be easy for you to search for a person and verify that they're in there. Now, if you have added people in since, this year pretty much, they may not be in there, and we need to get those contacts in because there was that cutoff that we had to pull your contacts out of, REW Home Suite and get them into Google Contacts. So, Missy, if you'll have that agent reach out if they seem to have any issues, that'd be really helpful. But hopefully that helped to answer your question.
Yes,
Yep.
Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions as a group before we do a little bit of individual work?
So I don't have access to Moxi because I'm still waiting on my, all the stuff for it. So how would I go about sending that?
Oh, Braden, gosh, I didn't think about that. You're the one that can't enter into the contest. Oh, Terry, we're going to have to make sure Braden gets into it or something. We'll figure that out, Braden. If there's anybody else that's, listen, people, Braden got his license 2 days ago. So he is actively working on getting stuff set up, but he doesn't have access to Greenhouse yet. So we can't get into Moxi. So I don't know, Braden. We might have to sit this contest out. I don't know. I feel like people are going to cry for you now. But we'll come up with an option to make sure you're included. But if that applies to anybody else, let us know, and we can make sure you're okay. But yeah, congrats, Braden. Look, Julie's saying congratulations to you. But we're really happy to have him there in Lee Summit. So we'll figure it out. Any other questions about the system today? It's pretty easy, right? It doesn't require many questions, and that's the cool part. But listen, when you have questions, we're here for you. The best place to reach out on Moxi questions is emailing moxihelp@kansascityhomes.com. And so if you email that, we'll be able to, respond to you very quickly and get back to your question. Scott just put that in the chat if you want to copy and paste that. But listen, keep coming to these classes. If you do that, I can't wait to see all the ones that Terry gets today and enter you into that. And we'll report next Tuesday during our sales meeting, the winners of that. So something to look forward to. You guys reach out with any questions. I'm going to sign off of here. Thank you, Scott, for sharing your screen with us today. And Ashley, you in College Boulevard might be the same thing there. So, well, we might have to participate in the next contest, but we'll get you in on something good. We'll start doing these with these Moxi trainings, but I appreciate you guys being here today. Reach out anytime. I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thanks. Bye.